There is a kind of politeness that smells like surrender. You call it being reasonable because the word sounds clean, adult, civilized. But watch what happens when you use it around someone who has no intention of meeting you halfway. Your calm tone becomes their permission. Your patience becomes their shelter. Your fairness becomes the quiet room where their cruelty can sit down, take off its shoes, and feel safe. You thought you were lowering the temperature. You were making the predator comfortable at your table with your blood again. Look at the last time you tried to be the mature one. Someone crossed a line, distorted the facts, took more than they gave, and you chose restraint. You said, maybe they are stressed. Maybe I should understand. Maybe if I respond with dignity, they will recognize my decency and become decent in return. But they did not become decent. They became bolder. They discovered that your morality had no teeth. They learned that you could be pushed, then lectured into calling the pushing a misunderstanding for their benefit again. This is the hidden function of reasonableness in the presence of ruthless people. It does not civilize them. It stabilizes the environment they exploit. It tells them that no matter how far they lean, you will keep adjusting the chair. No matter how much they take, you will keep searching for a balanced explanation. No matter how sharply they strike, you will wrap the wound in language soft enough to protect them from the sight of what they did. You become the diplomat of your own humiliation and private defeat. Machiavelli would have despised this impulse, not because he hated reason, but because he understood the difference between reason as an instrument and reason as a chain. In Florence, he watched men negotiate with enemies who treated negotiation as delay, apology as weakness, mercy as an opening, and patience as proof that the victim could be handled. He understood that some people do not hear moderation as nobility. They hear it as an announcement that consequences are negotiable, that your boundary is only a suggestion dressed formally for public consumption only. Here is the hard truth. Reasonable people are often loved by everyone except themselves. They are praised for being calm while their resentment grows in the basement. They are called fair because they keep dividing the cost of someone else's behavior in half and paying their portion. They are trusted because they make every room safer for the offender than for their own anger. And after years of this, they wonder why ruthless people keep finding them. They do not find you by accident. You advertise shelter without noticing it. Today, we are not going to worship rage. Rage is cheap. Rage is the noise of a man who discovered his limit too late. We are going to examine something colder. The moment when reason stops being wisdom and becomes collaboration with your own erosion. We are going to take the respectable mask off excessive compromise. We are going to look at the polite language that ruthless people use to keep you manageable. And if you listen carefully, you will begin to recognize the trap before it closes around you. Reason, in its highest form, is a blade. It cuts illusion from reality. It separates what happened from what you wish had happened. It sees incentives, patterns, appetites, and consequences without perfume. But reasonableness, as the culture sells it to you, is often a cushion. It softens impact, it rounds corners. It keeps the conversation pleasant while one side is bleeding and the other side is calculating. The blade becomes upholstery. The mind that should be judging the situation becomes busy making the situation emotionally comfortable for your opponent instead. Consider the language that cages you. Be fair. Hear them out. Do not overreact. There are two sides. Maybe they meant well. Maybe you're taking it personally. These sentences sound wise because they borrow the clothing of maturity. But in the wrong mouth, they are not wisdom, they are sedatives. They are handed to you precisely when your alarm system finally starts working. You feel something is wrong, and before you can act, someone offers you a soft word to make the warning quiet inside your own body again. Ruthless people understand this better than decent people do. They know that if they can make you feel extreme, they do not have to answer for being destructive. If they can make your objection look emotional, their violation looks rational. If they can persuade you that the highest virtue is calmness, they can provoke you repeatedly, then accuse you of failing the virtue when your voice finally changes. This is not morality, this is frame control. They move the debate away from what they did toward how politely you objected. Picture a workplace where one person consistently steals credit. He does not shout. He smiles in meetings, repeats your ideas with cleaner timing, and thanks the team as if your work passed through him naturally. You notice. You raise it privately. He says he understands. Then he does it again. When you finally become direct, he tells others you seem difficult lately. Now the room is not discussing theft, the room is discussing your tone. Your reasonableness built him a corridor. He walked through it, carrying your labor away, smiling. Now picture a relationship where someone wounds you, then asks for nuance. They want context. They want you to remember their childhood. Stress, fear, fatigue, old trauma, the difficult week, the misunderstanding, the way you also have flaws. Suddenly your pain becomes a committee meeting. Every fact is invited except the simple fact that they harmed you. And because you are reasonable, you attend the meeting. You bring documents, you listen, you even apologize for how their betrayal made you react. That is how self-betrayal learns manners inside you. The ruthless person does not need you to love them. That is the amateur's misunderstanding. They need you to keep doubting your right to consequences. They need your conscience to be so overdeveloped that it polices you more aggressively than it protects you. They need you asking, "Am I being unfair?" while they never ask, "Am I being abusive, dishonest, exploitative, or cruel?" This asymmetry is the battlefield. One side is examining itself, the other side is examining where to press next. That is why you lose so often now. Machiavelli's world was not sentimental about this. Renaissance politics did not reward the man who confused conversation with conversion. City-states shifted alliances. Mercenary captains sold loyalty, families married for advantage, and public virtue often concealed private appetite. In that world, the reasonable man survived only if his reason included a hard understanding of human incentives. He could discuss peace, but he kept watch on the gate. He could accept apologies, but he counted soldiers afterward. He knew that a treaty without enforcement was theater for children and fools alike. Modern life hides the same dynamic under softer furniture. Instead of armies, there are calendars, group chats, performance reviews, shared leases, family obligations, dating apps, invoices, reputations. Instead of princes, there are managers, relatives, partners, clients, and friends who know exactly how much pressure you will absorb before you call pressure conflict. The battlefield has changed clothing. The appetite has not changed. People still test the edges of what they can take. If the edge bends, they stop seeing an edge. They see an invitation to enter and keep entering again. There are three masks that make this possible. The first is maturity. Ruthless people love telling you to be mature because maturity, in their translation, means absorbing discomfort without disturbing the arrangement that benefits them. They do not mean responsibility, they mean silence with a respectable face. The second mask is empathy. They demand that you understand why they harmed you, while showing almost no interest in understanding what the harm did to you. The third mask is fairness. They ask for fairness only after their advantage is threatened finally. Notice this pattern and you will never unsee it. The person who took too much suddenly becomes passionate about balance when you begin to take something back. The person who ignored your needs discovers the importance of communication when you stop explaining yourself. The person who mocked your boundaries becomes a philosopher of compassion when access is removed. They are not awakening morally, they are losing leverage. Their sudden devotion to reason is not a conscience, it is a tool pulled from a drawer when the old tool breaks completely. Your mistake has been believing that because a person speaks the vocabulary of reason, they are operating under the discipline of reason. They are not. Language can be stolen. A liar can say honesty, a manipulator can say healing, a selfish person can say boundaries, a cruel person can say accountability. Words do not reveal allegiance, patterns do. If the words are always used to postpone consequences, redirect blame, dilute your certainty, or make you feel guilty for protecting yourself, then the words are not principles. They are smokescreens. The reasonable person tries to solve every conflict by increasing explanation. More context, more patience, more listening, more carefully chosen words. This works with decent people because decent people are trying to preserve the relationship. But with ruthless people, more explanation simply gives them a larger map of your nervous system. They learn which accusations slow you down, which memories make you soften, which moral identities you cannot bear to lose. You sit there thinking you are building mutual understanding. They are marking the entrances to your internal house. Quietly stop giving maps to arsonists. This does not mean become stupid, cruel, impulsive, or permanently suspicious. It means your reason must include the evidence of repetition. One insult can be ignorance, two can be habit, three is information. One broken promise can be weakness, two can be chaos, three is architecture. A person may deserve explanation once. They may deserve patience once. They may deserve a narrow bridge back after a genuine repair. But the bridge is not a public highway. It is earned, guarded, and retractable by your judgment. There is a cold question you must learn to ask before every act of reasonableness. What behavior is my calmness rewarding? Not what do I intend, not what kind of person am I proving myself to be. Intentions are private decorations. Outcomes are the public architecture. If your calmness rewards lying, lying will return. If your patience rewards disrespect, disrespect will grow roots. If your endless willingness to understand rewards people who refuse to change, then your understanding has become fertilizer for their refusal. That is not virtue or mercy. Imagine a client who pays late, then apologizes beautifully. The apology is elegant. It contains pressure, illness, confusion, bank delays, personal chaos, and admiration for your flexibility. Because you're reasonable, you say it is fine, then it happens again and again. Eventually, you're not running a business. You are financing their disorder. The Machiavellian response is not a speech about respect. It is a system. Work resumes after payment clears. Future projects require deposits. Access tightens. Politeness remains. The old softness does not return to serve them again. This is the distinction that will save you. You do not need to become less civil. You need to become less available for exploitation. Civility is the surface. Consequence is the skeleton. Without the skeleton, civility collapses into begging. With the skeleton, civility becomes terrifying because it offers no drama for the ruthless person to use. You do not scream. You do not collapse. You do not negotiate your own dignity in public. You calmly alter the terms of access, and the alteration speaks in a language power understands immediately. Ruthless people become uncomfortable when the reasonable person stops performing moral softness and starts practicing procedural hardness. Procedural hardness means you decide in advance what happens when a line is crossed. You are not improvising from hurt. You are not negotiating while bleeding. You are following a structure built while calm. If someone raises their voice, the conversation ends. If someone lies, trust decreases. If someone borrows and delays, the lending stops. If someone insults you in public, private access is reduced. No theater. Architecture replaces the pleading voice inside. Most people fail here because they wait until they are furious to discover their standards. By then, everything looks emotional. The ruthless person points at your anger and says, "See, this is the problem." You gave them that opening by treating boundaries as emergency equipment instead of daily infrastructure. A boundary built at the moment of violation looks like retaliation. A boundary built before violation looks like law. And law does not need to explain why fire burns. It simply burns whatever insists on entering it without permission or apology. Be warned, the first time you stop being excessively reasonable, people will not applaud your growth. The ones who benefited from your old flexibility will experience your new clarity as aggression. They will say you have become harsh, transactional, cold, unforgiving, hard to talk to. They will grieve the version of you who made their life easier at your own expense. Let them grieve. You are not responsible for maintaining the comfort of people who were comfortable only because you were quietly paying the hidden bill with your peace daily. There is another fear beneath your reasonableness, the fear of becoming like them. You think if you become firm, you become cruel. If you stop explaining, you become arrogant. If you impose consequences, you become punitive. This is childish moral geometry. Firmness is not cruelty. Silence is not arrogance. Consequence is not vengeance. A locked door is not an act of hatred against the person outside. It is an act of responsibility toward what lives inside. Your peace is a house. Stop leaving windows open for hands carrying matches again. To understand this fully, you must separate fairness from symmetry. Fairness does not always mean both people receive the same access, the same benefit of the doubt, the same patience, the same warmth. Fairness means each person receives treatment appropriate to their pattern. The honest person receives trust. The careless person receives supervision. The respectful person receives openness. The invasive person receives distance. Symmetry is lazy. It treats unlike things alike because thinking is expensive. Real fairness is precise. It measures conduct, not sentiment. Machiavelli would call that prudence itself. Prudence is not softness, it is the disciplined art of seeing what a situation actually requires. Sometimes prudence requires patience. Sometimes it requires immediate refusal. Sometimes it requires a generous interpretation. Sometimes it requires the cold recognition that you have already seen enough. The immature mind believes one virtue must solve every problem. Always be kind, always communicate, always forgive, always be reasonable. The strategic mind knows virtues are tools, and tools become dangerous when used outside their proper domain. A hammer cannot perform surgery without making a corpse first. This is why ruthless people prefer the universally reasonable person. Predictability comforts them. They know your script. They know you will hesitate before saying no. They know you will translate their selfishness into complexity. They know you will fear looking unfair more than they fear being unfair. To them, your virtue is a schedule. They can plan around it. They can arrive late, push hard, apologize enough, and watch you reopen the door. You have become dependable in the most dangerous way. Dependably exploitable, dependably forgiving, dependably useful to them. Become less predictable, not chaotic, not theatrical, strategically less available to assumption. Let people wonder whether your patience will be there tomorrow. Let them understand that your kindness is not an automatic climate system running in every season. It is a chosen weather. It changes when conditions change. This uncertainty is not manipulation, it is correction. It restores the fact that you are a person with judgment, not a public utility. Ruthless people grow uneasy when the utility becomes a sovereign. They lose certainty, and certainty was their throne before. There is a practical ritual for this, and it is brutally simple. Before you respond to any demand for reasonableness, slow the scene down. Do not answer from the first feeling. Ask internally, what pattern is this part of? Ask, what consequence has this person already experienced? Ask, what would I advise someone I respect to do if they were standing here in my place? This final question is ruthless because you are often kinder to imaginary strangers than to yourself. You will see the truth without its costume finally. Then answer with less language than your anxiety wants. Anxiety writes essays. Authority writes terms. I am not available for that. That does not work for me. We can continue when the tone changes. I will not lend money again. I am taking time before deciding. No, I am not discussing that here. These sentences are not cruel. They are clean. They give no maze to wander. They do not invite a trial. They place a stone on the ground and leave it there where evasion cannot move it later. Watch what happens next. The ruthless person will try to make the stone emotional. They will say, "So you do not care." They will say, "I guess everything is my fault." They will say, "You are impossible to talk to." These are not arguments, they are hooks. Each one invites you to abandon the boundary and defend your character. Do not pick up the hook. Return to the term. I am not available for that. We can continue when the tone changes. Repetition is cold power without raised hands drama. The first repetitions will feel mechanical, good. Mechanics save you when emotion tries to seize the wheel. A soldier does not rise to the level of his inspirational thoughts. He falls to the level of his training. You are the same. Under pressure, you will not suddenly become sovereign because you watched a video and admired the idea. You will become sovereign only if you rehearse the language of sovereignty until it survives contact with guilt, flattery, accusation, and tears. Training is identity before identity feels natural inside your bones. Machiavelli understood training because power in his world was never sustained by mood. A prince who depended on feeling brave would collapse when fear arrived. A leader who depended on feeling generous would bankrupt his state when pity was staged before him. Power required habits stronger than emotion, procedures stronger than sympathy, judgment stronger than the desire to appear good. This is why the modern reasonable person is so vulnerable. He has feelings about fairness, but no procedures for defending it. He has ideals, but no gates around those ideals. Build gates. Decide who enters your inner circle, who remains in the courtyard, and who stays outside the wall. The inner circle gets nuance because they have earned it through consistency. The courtyard gets courtesy because courtesy costs little and preserves order. Outside the wall gets distance because not every person deserves proximity to your interior. This is not medieval fantasy. This is psychological administration. Every stable life requires borders. The borderless person calls himself open until he realizes he has become occupied territory under another person's quiet flag entirely. Some of you are resisting this because you still believe a perfect explanation will reach them. You imagine the right sentence, spoken at the right time, with enough tenderness and precision, will finally unlock their conscience. But conscience is not a door you can open from the outside. If someone has repeatedly profited from not understanding, understand this: their confusion is useful to them. It protects the arrangement. It allows them to receive benefits while claiming innocence. They are not lost in fog. They are renting it by the hour. Do not pay their rent. The moment you see that confusion serves them, stop treating it like an emergency. You can clarify once. After that, respond to behavior. A person who does not understand your boundary after 10 explanations understands something else perfectly, that explanations are cheaper than compliance. They can keep you talking and avoid changing. They can keep you proving and avoid repairing. They can keep you reasonable and avoid accountability. This is why silence, after clarity has been given, becomes an act of intelligence, not cruelty here. There is a deeper layer. Being reasonable can become a way to avoid your own power. If you keep discussing, you do not have to decide. If you keep understanding, you do not have to leave. If you keep seeing both sides, you do not have to choose your side. Endless nuance can become cowardice wearing spectacles. It feels intellectual, but often it is fear. Fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear of being the one who ends the arrangement. You call it complexity. It is avoidance with better diction. The sovereign does not worship complexity. He studies it, then acts. He can hold conflicting information without becoming paralyzed by it. He can know someone was wounded in childhood and still refuse to be wounded by them in adulthood. He can understand why a person lies and still reduce trust. He can feel compassion for someone drowning and still refuse to become the object they drag under. This is the mature form of reason. Not endless softness, but accurate action after accurate perception. Cold, clean, merciful to reality, not fantasy. You will notice as you practice this that your body changes before your life does. The stomach tightness before saying no begins to lessen. The need to over-explain weakens. The shame that used to flood you when someone accused you of being unfair arrives later, smaller, less convincing. Your nervous system learns that consequence does not kill you. Disapproval does not kill you. Someone's disappointment is not a verdict from heaven. It is weather passing over a structure that finally has a roof and doors that hold themselves well enough. Your relationships will also separate themselves. Some people will become calmer around you because your clarity gives them safety. They always wanted a real relationship, not a convenience. They will respect the boundary and meet you with their own. Others will become theatrical. Their need for access was never love. It was habit, entitlement, appetite, convenience. When the old pathway closes, they reveal the nature of what moved through it. Do not mourn every departure. Some absences are not losses. They are rooms being cleaned after years of smoke inside. There will be loneliness. Do not let anyone sell you sovereignty without its winter. When you stop being the endlessly reasonable one, you lose the cheap warmth of being needed by people who never respected you. You lose certain invitations, certain messages, certain familiar dramas. The evenings get quieter, but in that quiet, something returns. The part of you that was always negotiating against itself begins to breathe. The inner court empties of false judges. You hear your own verdict at last, and it is steady for the first time. Do not confuse this with bitterness. Bitterness keeps staring at the people who harmed it. Sovereignty looks away and builds systems they cannot enter. Bitterness rehearses the insult. Sovereignty studies the pattern, extracts the lesson, and closes the file. Bitterness wants them to admit what they did. Sovereignty no longer needs their confession because conduct has already testified. This is the difference between being hardened and being armored. Hardened people are still ruled by the wound. Armored people have organized themselves around protection and purpose without worshipping the wound again. Now return to the word reasonable. It is not your enemy. A life without reason becomes chaos. impulse, revenge, and foolish pride. But reason must serve truth, not comfort. It must ask what is happening, not how can I make this look civilized. It must protect the innocent party, not merely soothe the loudest one. It must include consequences, pattern recognition, and self-respect. Reason without force is decorative. Reason without boundaries is edible. Reason without consequence becomes a lullaby sung to wolves sleeping outside your open door at night. From this point forward, your reasonableness must pass through one gate. Does this protect what is valuable? If the answer is no, it is not reason, it is compliance with better posture. Does your patience protect the relationship or protect the person's ability to damage it? Does your empathy create repair or merely excuse repetition? Does your fairness honor reality or erase it? These questions will irritate the weak part of you because they force decision. Good. The weak part of you has been governing too long from your throne. Let the new government begin quietly. Do not announce that you have changed. Announcements give people a target. Let the change appear in cancelled availability, shorter answers, slower trust, cleaner exits, firmer terms, and less emotional labor spent translating cruelty into complexity. Let them sense the ground has hardened under your feet. Let them press where they used to press and find no soft entrance. This is how power returns, not with a speech, but with a revised pattern repeated until the world believes it because you believed it first. One day, the same person who once grew comfortable inside your reasonableness will approach you and feel the difference. They will not be able to name it. You may still speak calmly. You may still listen. You may still choose your words with discipline, but there will be a locked mechanism beneath the calm. They will sense that charm will not open it, guilt will not open it, and accusation will not open it. For the first time, your politeness will no longer feel like permission to enter uninvited again. This is when you become difficult in the way every sovereign person must become difficult, not loud, not cruel, not hungry for domination.